Welcome back to Mindful Endeavors. I am your host, New Age Alchemist. And joining us today is Pick from Cane Fishing. Before we continue with the episode, as always, keep in mind that we're not mental health professionals. We're not giving mental health medical advice. If you do need help, please seek it. However, we do encourage the conversations around this topic to keep going. We're about to go into that in terms of the outdoors and mental health and how those can play a role in each other. So just keep that in mind. All right, so we have again, like I said, we have Pick. Um, really quick, introduce yourself to us. Well, before I go ahead and let you go do that, let me just say that I met you in the fishing community. It's one of the benefits of having the Instagram account, and I definitely, you know, really do enjoy that. So go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, I just go by Pick. It's just my nickname. I'm in Tennessee, Middle Tennessee area, and started cane fishing September 8th of 2020. Just wanted to give back to other wounded vets. So I'm also a full-time lieutenant at a local fire department. Been there over 25 years, actually. And one of the reasons I started cane fishing is this is something I want to pursue full time after I retire from the fire service.
So you're getting started on that right now as you're finishing up your service.
Yes, yeah. After the military, I was fortunate enough to get on with a fire department close by here, and it's a full time fire department. Went through the ranks. And I'm actually going on my 29th year, to be honest with you, and looking at retirement. And I want to do this full time instead of part time.
Awesome. And really quick, kind of just describe like what it's like to transition from coming from the military and then just back into civilian life.
Yeah, it's a very tough transition. I was in the Gulf War, first go around Gulf War, and it's very hard transition going from a very disciplined um, fluid unit to civilian life. I think that's why you find a lot of ex-military in either law enforcement or the fire service, because it's kind of a paramilitary organization, and I think that's what draws veterans to those professions. And not only that, that's also it continues or it allows us to continue to give back outside of the military.
Yeah, it goes without saying. I definitely appreciate what you've done, and putting your life to basically protect the country. That's something that I can't even imagine what it's like. But definitely appreciate your service. And this kind of goes into our first topic as to like what can we do as civilians to kind of help our vets when they come home, because whether they see combat or just see certain situations, we don't really know. We're only limited to what's shown on the news. Luckily we have social medias, we can kind of get a better understanding of what what environment you guys are in, but it's still not like relatable 100%, right? So it's already bad enough that we can't really bridge that gap like right away, but is there anything that we can do? Because we do see our vets struggling with mental health a lot, and that's one of the things that I've always wanted to cover since starting the podcast. So yeah, so what's your opinion on all that?
So my thoughts on that is a lot of vets just want space when they first return. There's other vets that respond better to just a lot of support from the community, a lot of support from the families. I would say each individual veteran I guess they just prefer, or they just kind of have their own way of dealing with it. Mm-hmm. And as a community, it's hard to know what, like how they like to deal with it. Some want to be just smothered with support and love. Others just want to be left alone, just kind of like time, away from everybody, and just kind of have a break. So my advice would be if you have a vet in your family, or if you have veterans in your community, ask them, is there anything that we could do, anything that we could do for you? And some of them will just be like, hey, I need space. Others won't say anything. And some will open up. So my advice is, if you do have a veteran or know a veteran, um, just ask them. Just ask them. Is there anything that we can do? Anything that we can offer? Anything that you would like, or anything make the transition easier for you? And most vets will just be honest with you. That's
Mhm.
what, like the people I served with, and other veterans that I've met, throughout the years. Um, they'll just be honest with you, and tell you, hey, I just need some space. Just leave me alone for a little bit, or whatever it is they prefer. Um, Another avenue that the community could take is, get involved with a veteran organization. There's a lot of people in the community that don't know vets, but that they still want to, give back, or still want to help in some way. You have plenty of resources that you could utilize, and Wounded Warriors or Operation Tackle Box. I'm sure that there's organizations within your state or your community. Look up, and maybe there's, you can do some volunteer hours. I'm sure I'm 100% positive there's things out there that people can utilize to help veterans.
Absolutely. I think sometimes we get caught in thinking that this, I mean, like other issues, but we get caught thinking that, oh, well, either we have the VA and that'll take care of them, or we're just throwing money at a solution. But it really goes beyond that because, like you said, a lot of people don't, never interacted with a veteran, or they don't even know one, right? So it's hard to really relate to that problems, and I think that gap is what's keeping us to really truly kind of understanding the problem and maybe even having a really like logical solution to mental health. And I mean, there's like you said, everybody kind of heals in a different way. We're not all 100% the same in terms of personality. So um, like you said, some people want to be smothered. You see that with just any average, American. Some people want to be smothered with people. Some people want to be left alone,
Absolutely.
and it comes with like anxiety and things like that, and a lot of things. That's why mental health is so multifaceted, which is something that has interested me from like, I don't know, maybe 2013 when I started really kind of comprehending things. Most of the people that I went to, well, not most of the people I went to high school, but a good amount that I went to high school with, uh, I think they were like a year older than me, 2 years older than me. They went into the army and they ended up being deployed to Iraq. Some of them came back, more disciplined because they were little hellraisers, in high school, and
Yes.
they were very disciplined and very productive when they came back. Others, it took them a little while to get there, and it was just, I didn't pry or anything. I just kind of like said, hey, how things are over there, and they just said it's crazy, man. I don't, and that's all I'm gonna say. And all right,
Yeah.
respect the space.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of vets won't elaborate on, you know war, or whatever situation they were in. They just won't really elaborate on it. Um, I have fortunate enough to have a bunch of family currently in the military, and I've just seen it over the course of, I guess they've been in 3 years, three or 4 years,
Hmm.
and I have two nephews, my sister's boys. One's a Ranger, the other one's a B-1 bomber. He's a B-1 bomber, and the Lancer. I'm sorry, and the Lancer. He's a weapons system officer, and just over the course of 3 years, I see just a huge difference in them. And I tried to explain to my sister, just kind of like, just give them some space. Our oldest son, he'll be graduating in 4 days. Actually, I apologize. He'll be graduating 2 days from Marine Corps OCS. So
Hmm.
he'll be coming out as a second lieutenant. And just over the course of 10 weeks, I was able to talk to him 3 times. And you could just hear in his voice, he's just his little bit quicker to temper than he was prior. And that's just because what he's been exposed to, you know. So, it doesn't take long. So Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I see it just within my own family members. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, to think. Yeah. I remember them as little ones, So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and because like like my family, I mean, my parents moved here from Mexico, so we don't really have anybody in the military here.
Yeah.
My brother, the one that came before me, and myself, I think I'm pretty sure he thought about it at one point, but like the media, they over exaggerate things. So my mom was like, no, 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 you're not doing that and all that stuff, and we, we ended up not doing,
Yeah.
not going into that. So
Yeah. It's
yeah,
funny. I often, actually, my wife and I were talking the other day, and you ever like wonder, like how some people are driven to that? Is it in their DNA? Is it just a simple choice they make? But what drives people pretty much is, why do people want to help others so much? Like
yeah,
what drive, like what's in that person that wants to ultimately possibly sacrifice their life, to want to help. Well, where does that come from? Is it how you were raised? Is it just, like I said, is it in your DNA? Um, like, I personally have no greater joy than helping someone, and I
hmm
kind of always been like that. My whole life has been service. My whole life, yeah, ever since I was 18, has been service. Um, Other people want to, but don't have an opportunity, and then there's other people that just don't have any desire. But what drives someone to want to do that? It's very interesting. I mean, if you really think about it, it's really, really interesting, because possibly you may lose your life. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So what
yeah,
is that? Like, what is that? Where does that drive come from? I know where mine comes from. I know that. And it's just an interesting topic to me. Like, anyways, yeah, it's just interesting to me, because there's so many different avenues you could take in life. But,
yeah.
but what is that drives you to want to do that? That's all I want to do is help. I mean, I don't know why, but well, I do know why. I think it was more my upbringing. But I mean, just for an example, in our family, we have 8 military. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the satisfaction of knowing you're giving to others. And I think, in the world we live today, think about how great it would be if everyone did something for somebody else.
Yeah,
What
and
a
like
what a wonderful place this would be.
absolutely, especially when you do it like without expecting anything in return. That's
Love,
the
just if you just do it out of love, do it out of self-sacrifice. Yeah,
hmm
whatever reason that is, whatever drives you to do something like that. But think about if everybody did that. If everybody gave back a little, just a little,
hmm
kind of place, everything these days, and I've some younger kids, but everything is so immediate.
instant gratification. Yep.
Yeah, it's so immediate. You don't know an answer, look on your phone. You don't know, you need something, buy it off your phone. Everything is just immediate, and like you said, everything is instant gratification. But it's about self. That's what it is. You think about it. People are judging you by your pictures you're posting. People, commenting on you, and I see it in the fire service. The suicide rate in younger children. I mean, I see it, all the time. But from when I first started till now, I mean, it's unbelievable. Um, the age of some of these children that are taking their own lives, and I think a lot of it has to do with social media, right?
hmm
But if we can get them out of their phones and get them into the communities, and just to give back. You see where I'm coming from?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of always being about self and instant gratification, and who's judging me off a picture I posted, instead of doing that, let's teach them to give back. And I think a lot of it is you know, I think I don't know how to put this, but well, I'm just going to say it. The parents are more worried about being their friend than being a parent.
I have seen that for sure.
You know, they're more worried about trying to keep them satisfied and keep them pacified with something other than
Hmm.
being a parent, you know? And I don't know. I think if we get them out of their phones and get them involved with, community projects, get them involved with volunteering, or just, simply say, hey, listen, today we're going to limit your phone time and you're going to do one thing for somebody else. Just one thing. And if everyone did that, what a great place and what a great society we would live in.
Yeah, because I've been reading several statistics on this, so maybe it's like a few months back where, like, yeah, there's been a correlation with the more easy it is to consume social media, basically the internet, but they were more referring to the social media. The more easy it is to consume that, the higher mental health issues I've been seeing in young adults,
Oh,
and more specifically with women. Like the correlation is higher with women, like younger teens.
yeah, excuse me one second.
Hmm.
Sorry, I had two little puppies walked in. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Oh my goodness, it's horrible. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and it plays into a lot because I mean when you're especially when you're a teen, you just want to fit in, right? And there's a bunch of stuff coming at you from social media on the internet, and it's really hard to consume it, like to consume it at a rate that's not harmful, even for like adults, like young adults, like in their early 20s. Like you see how many people fall into the trap of you need to have this or you're nobody in the world or you need to do
yeah,
this, and I think all that kind of prays a little bit on the fact that, going back to what you said about like how certain people want to help. I think a lot of people, they want to find purpose in life and subconsciously they're looking for that, right? Some people find it in helping others unconditionally without expecting anything in return, and some people don't find it, so they have a void to fill, I think. And you feel with social media, it's not gonna, you're basically producing robots that sometimes can't even think for themselves and realize that they're heading towards a path that may not grant them anything. And you
right.
see it a lot too, like when if somebody gets insta famous, like they get all this money and people think, oh well, look, I'm rich and everything. But even like a lot of people that are somewhat Instagram famous or TikTok famous, they're not like all mentally sound. Like I'm not saying that they're insane, but like mental health is not all there.
Yeah, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but let me ask you this: do you think the kids, the younger generation, do you think they've ever experienced gratification outside of social media?
Hmm. So I know that when I was going through high school, we had MySpace, and it wasn't the same as Facebook or Instagram. But I want to say that there's a lot of kids that did not, like what you're saying. Yes, like they didn't experience gratification outside, and they experienced it in the net. So
Yeah,
yeah, so I would agree that
as a
I would
parent,
say yeah.
I think as a parent, we need to expose them to gratification outside of social media because we're cheating them if we never allow them to experience that.
Hmm.
But we have to remember as parents, I mean, I'm sure you see it too. You go out to dinner and everybody at the table's on their phone. So why aren't the parents, for one, getting off their phone, spending time, good quality time with their kids, interacting with them, communicating with them, and two, are we not, I mean, why aren't we dedicating enough time to our kids to allow them to um, to experience that gratification outside their phone? Put your phones away. We're all going to whatever it is, pick up trash on the on the street or whatever it is that your community has to offer. We're cheating them by not allowing them to get involved with that and feel that deep in their heart what it feels like to help someone else.
Hmm.
We have to allow that as parents. We have to allow them to experience that because the only gratification is like what they're getting now is this. You know,
The
oh
phone, yeah.
look, I have 10 likes. I have, oh my gosh. That's horrible. That's
Yeah.
horrible. And we wonder why the suicide rate or why depression is so high these days. I tell you what,
Yeah.
be a parent. Don't be a friend. Be a parent. Get them off the
Yeah.
phone and allow them to experience other things. And let's see if we could turn this around.
Yeah. And I was very fortunate to really have like my parents there for me and everything. And the only downside with me is that I never really shared anything with them growing up until I was like maybe like 17, 18. That's when I started opening up.
Yeah,
But that's just a normal teenager, or at least what was considered normal during that time, right?
right, right,
But uh yeah, like because a lot of that stuff in the social media realm, a lot of it is modeled after like gambling. Like, so there's a good documentary called The Social Dilemma that kind of explains that, like the whole thing with Instagram specifically, like when you like scroll down so it can refresh. That was basically modeled like after a slot machine, so you can kind of like, oh, well, am I gonna get new likes,
oh
like in
wow,
on this thing?
really,
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
interesting. I did not know that. Wow, that is
yeah. So,
really interesting, huh?
Yeah, that documentary is on Netflix. It's probably one of the few things that I would recommend on Netflix, to be honest. Because I mean, I now more than ever I recommend people to go outside.
Yeah,
Go outside. Like, even they don't necessarily have to like travel to Northern California to like the forest out there, or travel to the beach. But just go outside, like just taking fresh air and everything.
yeah. Go for a walk. Leave your phones in the house. Go for a walk. Talk to your kids. Yeah, get
Yeah,
involved in what's going on. Get involved in what they're doing. They need. It's just important, I think, for children to realize that their parents are into them instead of just wanting to pacify them. I think kids want their parents to be involved. I really do.
mm,
I mean, I really do. And I know there's a lot of people that are probably going to listen to this and disagree with me. But my question to you is have you tried? Have you tried
yeah,
to do that? You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I think a lot of it too, whether it's an adult um, or a teen. Like I was just talking to this about this with my previous guest, that we as humans, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a flaw or if at one point it helped us in terms of survival, but we want to take the path of least resistance. A lot of times, that's what we're wired to do, or I don't know if that's the case. A lot of people, like, I'm actually the opposite, because I think it's more of a stubbornness in me, that sometimes I want to do things the longer route, the harder route, for whatever reason. I don't know what it is.
Right.
Um, but not everybody's, I don't think is wired the same, right? And I think, if, like what you're saying, if we can start them young, in the sense of teaching them like, hey, let's go fix the side, not the sidewalk, the walkway. We need to mix
Yeah.
cement. Teach them how to do that. Like, I'm
Just
learning all those things.
get them involved in something other than their phones.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Get them involved in something that that allows them to experience that feeling of giving to somebody else. And the whole conversation of people are wired for the path of least resistance. I don't I can't comprehend that. Like, I don't know why. You know, again, maybe it's a DNA thing. I don't know, but why does everybody want easy?
yeah. And it hasn't. I think it's been exacerbated since the internet, because, like you said, now we're basically walking cyborgs. Like, if we need to know what places are around to eat, boom, boom. And,
Right.
oh, let me do whatever, get my phone, and we're good to go. How do I get from here to here?
Yeah.
I still remember the book of maps my dad had, that he had to use to go from different places.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Yeah. The,
yeah,
the atlases. Yeah.
yeah, there you go, the
Yeah.
atlases. That's what I was. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I
So
remember it was like a little binder. You just flip it open.
oh
Okay,
yeah.
this is the 5 and where it goes and all 7. Yeah.
See, so
So
let's look at depression. Let's look at mental health in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and let's compare it to 2019, 20, 21, or 18. And I understand COVID. People are going to blame it on COVID, but let's not use excuses. You know, Nobody wants to hear excuses. Everybody went through COVID. You know what I'm saying? Um,
yeah,
so here's a good challenge, and I know again, you're going to have listeners. Well, this is my business. My phone is my business. And all right, so let's try, say, a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and ask your kids, hey, how do you feel about putting the phones down? Of course, of course, as children, they're gonna, buck it. But then on the flip side, explain to them that you own the phone. They don't. So, I do this to my kids. I've done it when they were younger. I'm like, you don't pay for it. It's my phone. It's very simple. I'm taking it from you. Period.
Hmm.
Period. I'm not giving you options. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. Your phone is mine. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And let's see by Saturday or Sunday how, you know what I'm saying? How are they happier? You know, and during that weekend, make a challenge. We're going to do something nice for somebody on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to do something nice. We're not going to use our phones for anything. And let's see
Hmm.
by Sunday how involved, just over 2 days, 3 days, how much more involved you are with them. And let's see if they're happier.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, really, I really truly believe if we get rid of, phone time, let's just call it phone time instead of phones. If we could just, get rid of some of this phone time and get more involved with them, I really truly believe that we're going to have happier kids, and we're going to have a better society if on top of that we're giving back to other people.
Yeah.
I really do. I really truly believe that.
Yeah,
Maybe.
and I don't see any negative side effect with wanting to help people, like for the sake of just helping. Not like I said, going back to not getting anything in return, not
Yeah.
expecting anything in return. But I think a lot of people are missing that connection. That the
Yeah.
more you cultivate, the eventually you will get that return. And I mean, even though you shouldn't expect it, I mean,
Right.
there's times like you don't even see it. Like, and that's where I've talked to people several times where it's like even just saying a simple hello to somebody, you never know if that person was going through a bad day, and just by you saying hello, you cheered that person up, and then that started a chain reaction to maybe, oh well, now I'm going to do this productive habit, or now I'm going to do the same to another person. I'm going to say hello and how are you
Yes.
doing, maybe, and even buy them, I don't know, a snack or something, I don't know, like whatever. But
Yeah.
you never
Oh,
know.
I agree with that 100%. I mean, I see it, and other firefighters see it, and in our profession, you never know what kind of day someone's having, and just a simple hello may change that whole day for them. I agree with you 100% on that. What we'll do is, if we're in line at, like, whatever. I'm not going to promote any certain restaurant, but if we're at a drive-through, what we always do is, hey, we're going to pick up the tab for the person, the one car back, or we're going to pick up the tab 2 cars back. We don't want you to tell them. Just tell them it's free today. And then what we'll do is we'll go and park and then go in and pay the tab for them after they leave. But not tooting our own horn by any means, but man, imagine if everybody did something like that. I mean, really.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we have an opportunity to change. We do. Everybody has an opportunity to change. You just got to commit to it. And
Yeah.
be disciplined enough to stick with it.
100%. And I mean, because I grew up in LA, and
Mm,
one of the stigmas of LA is that people are jerks, and all that stuff. But it's like, but like the more I think about it, the more I've thought about it, I realize, well, I mean, are they jerks because of LA, or does LA turn them into jerks? And I feel a lot of times it's the environment, not because like, oh well, here's my excuse to be a jerk. No, it's because I feel like a lot of people, I mean, not even just because I'm in Texas now, but not even like just sticking to LA. A lot of people are like on the go, on the go, on the go. So all they see with like, oh, when they look at a person, they're just like, oh, how many minutes am I going to spend here? Okay, 3 minutes, and then gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. And a lot of that. So you lose kind of like the humanity aspect when you're kind of on the constant like hustle and bustle, and I
yeah.
think, and that's kind of where I see LA, because like LA, you have to battle traffic, you have to battle parking, and it's like
Yeah.
people don't stop and be like, you're a person, you're designed to interact with other people,
Yes.
take relax.
Yeah. And my response to that is, um, have have you given everything you can? Have you given everything you can to give that person a chance?
Hmm.
People may react differently to your, hey, how you doing today? Whatever, like you said, if they're not that big of a hurry, you know, and they don't want to acknowledge you. But you know what? As long as we know that we're doing the right thing and that we're trying, you can't control other people's actions, but you can control your own.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And, I mean, I lived in California. I was down in Coronado, um, and I lived there. And it's not quite as fast paced, obviously, as LA. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you're in a small town in Texas, a small town here in Tennessee. It doesn't matter. Guys and girls, if you know you're doing the right thing and you're giving people an opportunity and you're trying to make a difference, then that's all really that matters. That's all that matters. Because, like
Oh
you
yeah.
said earlier, you might just catch that one person to turn around and say, hey, you know what? Thanks for saying something. I appreciate that. And
Hmm.
you may make a difference. You may make a difference in that person's life.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. Like when I moved here, right, the first the first person that said good morning to me when I was just going on a walk, it
Yeah,
just completely tripped me out completely. I was like, "What are you trying to sell me?" Like, I'm not trying to buy anything. Just
right.
I'm I'm pretty sure they thought I was rude because I just kind of
Hey,
walked faster.
yeah.
So
Oh, I hear
yeah,
you.
it was a
I was born in Detroit, so I hear you 100%.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I was just kind of like, oh, like eventually, like I learned like, oh, people are actually polite. They'll actually say hello. They'll actually,
yeah.
say good morning. How's it going?
That
Sometimes
was
like I've
probably
met
a
people.
culture shock for you. That was
What
probably a
happened?
culture shock. That was probably a culture shock for you.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think that was the biggest culture shock that I got coming to Texas. Just
yeah,
how friendly people were, and then I ended up like visiting, Arkansas and Oklahoma, and the same thing. People were more polite, and then just
right.
like, oh my god, is this just an LA thing where it's like, like people are
Yeah.
just like so rude because they're constantly in a hurry, and it's like
Do
I
you
didn't
think
know
that's
people were actually polite.
do you think that's changed you at all?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there's our point right there. Imagine if we all did it. I mean,
Hmm.
you're one person, I'm one person. I know, I was born and raised in Detroit, totally different than where I live now and different than California. But it has changed me. It has changed you. Let's
Hmm.
all get together and try to make a change, and just a simple hello or a simple gesture or a simple good deed for someone else. I,
Yeah.
I believe it. I believe we can change. I do.
Yeah, some of the people that I've met here that I'm now pretty good friends with, they're like, oh, at first when I first met you, I thought you just didn't like us. I'm like, no, that's just the LA part of me that I just kind of like I'm kind of constantly looking over my shoulder, looking around just to see what where I'm at, everything. Like, don't take that to heart. Like,
Situational
yeah,
awareness.
yeah, extreme situational awareness. So it's like, so they kind of like they thought that I was kind of a jerk and I didn't want to really talk to people. And it's like now you just won't shut up. I'm like, well, now I'm
Yeah.
we're cool, so that's okay.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You come.
Yeah, and
You
then
do.
when you were talking about like have you tried? I think
Yeah.
that is very very crucial because, for example, I was not a fan of like speaking like how we're speaking right now, like on people are going to see this, speaking on camera or public speaking in general. And but I was like, well, you know what? I want to do the podcast because I mean I don't know what I'm going to contribute in terms of the mental health aspect, but I know I want to at least have the conversation because it wasn't a mainstream thing. And it's still not really a mainstream thing, and it's like mental health is really important.
So
But it
if I
took three
said,
people.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
What's up?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
so it took three people to really tell me like, well, if you're gonna let that fear not even let you attempt it, then what's the point of being upset about the situation? Like, what's the point of you wanting to do the situation? Like, try it,
You're
and
right.
if it falls flat, well, you at least gave it a try.
That's it. I always
Hmm.
tell my kids, and there's so many parents out there right now that I think they're living, their ambitions or want to live their ambitions through their children. Right? They got to be the best ball player. They got to be the best dancer. They got to be the best cheerleader. Whatever the case may be, I don't know. But I always told my kids, I'd rather you try and fail at something than fail to even ever try anything. because you can learn more from failure than you can success. You really can.
Hmm.
You really, I mean, you really can. That's the only way you're going to grow. You know.
Exactly.
Um, yeah. So if I said the number 22, what does that mean? What's the number 22 mean?
And is that are you
Yeah,
directing that
yeah.
question?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm asking you. I'm asking all your listeners. The number 22. Does that mean anything to anybody?
So I don't know if I'm outdated when I say this, but I know the number 22 is like the amount of vets that committed suicide per day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's absolutely correct. Now, how many people know that? Not probably not many, right? So I don't. I think going back to the very beginning of this, you said, "What can the community do?" You know, you have to want to be able to do something. You have to want to be able to do something. If
Hmm.
you were addicted to Starbucks coffee, I guarantee you, no matter where you were in this world, you would find a Starbucks coffee. Now,
Hmm.
why aren't you concentrating and using that same effort to find a way to help veterans that gave you the right to go to that Starbucks, right?
Hmm.
Or gave you the I always tell people, you should thank somebody who provided the blanket of freedom, right? That's what I tell people. We provide a blanket of freedom. So use that same amount of effort to find an avenue to try to help vets. And if you don't want to
Yeah.
help vets, perfectly fine. That's great. Don't. Then focus it on your children or focus it on yourself to want to do something good for somebody else. Just anybody. I don't care who it is. But just do something great for somebody for, every day. Every day. Just do something good or something great for someone. You know, and again, that goes back to just satisfying self. We would go to the end of the earth to find a Starbucks. And I'm not promoting Starbucks. I mean, I drink my own coffee and I drink gas station coffee, to be honest with you. But those people are out there. Go to the ends of the earth to find something to satisfy themselves. Why don't you go to the end of the earth to try to satisfy someone else? Let's
Well,
concentrate that effort on that.
yeah, and like and a lot of people don't realize again the impact that they can have. Like let's like to piggyback off what you were saying, go through like we have the internet now. Like granted it's imperfect, but at the same time it's perfect, which is it's a weird contradiction because we have an enormous amount of resources, information on there. Granted, you have to vet it and you have to kind of comb through it and stuff, but it's there.
Yeah,
Um, you can learn how to like how I got into fishing. The YouTube videos, how to rig a spinning reel, how to rig a bait caster, how to rig this. Like I didn't have parents that were outdoorsy, so I had to basically instill that on myself. So,
yeah,
and
yeah,
COVID was the perfect opportunity to do that because I had a year before COVID, I had just wanted to get into fishing, and I had bought a ugly stick spinning reel, and I
yeah,
bought it at Costco. And by the way, I share this story all the time. Like I don't know, probably like 50% of the episodes I've shared this story, but
yeah,
um, like I had it there just sitting collecting dust. And then during COVID, everything got shut down. I used to go to the gym a lot, so that was shut down. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going a little stir crazy. I need to get out there. So I just went to the local pond, got my rod and reel, put the small little crankbait with two split shots. I don't know why I did that. And I just cast it out there, got it stuck in rocks, and had to
yeah,
cut the line.
yeah, yeah. Well,
So,
like everything is relevant. That's why you told the story. It's very relevant because you took the
mhm.
effort and you took the time to learn that, right?
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
thing.
because like
You didn't know. You didn't know, and you took the time. There's a lot of people out there that don't know. Take the time to learn it. You know, and that's
like you said, you're willing to go the extra mile to get with that. And I think back to your Starbucks example, like people like will realize like, oh, I have to find a Starbucks that's like 5 miles away from me. But it's like you don't realize the amount of effort you took to get that. Like if you use that same amount of effort and apply to maybe just learning one new skill, Like
Yeah.
you have no idea like the chain reaction that'll spark and what it's going to lead to.
Right. And speaking of effort, let me just ask you, what kind of effort do you think the soldiers or sailors gave to give you that freedom? Imagine their effort and their
Oh yeah.
sacrifices. Yeah,
Oh
we
yeah.
get
I don't take those. That's why I don't take the armed services for granted at all.
right. Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, it's like, let's hope that there isn't any war where we have to fight for freedom because I don't want them to die.
Right.
I don't want any armed soldier to die. I mean, and I also thank them because if we do get to that situation where we have to fight a war, who's going to be the first ones to go out there?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. All I'm saying is, just make as much effort, if this is something you want to do. I'm not saying you have to, but if this is something you want to do, then use that same amount of effort that you would for a coffee or whatever it is that you're addicted to. Use the same amount of effort if you want to find out how you can help a local vet.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. And again, you don't have to. Nobody's forcing you to. But if this is something that you're passionate about and really want to help out, there's avenues that you can take to do that. And
Absolutely. Because like uh, going
22 is
back to the,
too
I'm
much.
sorry, what?
21 is enough. One is too many, but 22 is way too many.
Way too many.
Yeah.
And I haven't read up if that because I got this number 2 years ago. Actually 3 years ago, where that number was 22,
Yeah.
and my jersey number used to have 23, and I switched it to 22 because in case people ask me like, well, why is 22, and then I can go ahead and give that,
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful.
So that I mean, it's nothing that like I know it's bigger than me, but I have that number on my jersey like just because hey, if somebody asks well, why'd you pick 22, then I can go ahead and tell them, and then I'm already sprinkling some information to see if maybe that kind of
Yeah.
like jogs their brain and everything.
Yeah. And again, you may lead that person to a VFW or the VA or whatever organizations in their community. Just that little conversation might spark enough interest in them to say, hey, you know what? I do want to give back. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, and like let's just say if a person wants to start a business, um, which I highly recommend to a lot of people, like there's the internet. I mean, for better or worse, again, you just have to be careful how you curate the information, how you vet the information. But if you put the effort, you start your business. Granted, it's something that's going to benefit them or oneself. But think about it now. If by you growing as a business, now you can employ people, and if you employ a vet, that's one way of helping, contributing and
Great
you know,
example. Great
yeah.
example.
And
Yeah.
it starts with hey, like maybe I need to be a little more productive. And again, it's to the point of like you never know how something that you want to change of yourself will impact the atmosphere that you're in.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah. That is a great example, and you hear it all the time on radios. Radio state. And TV. We're employing vets. Vets are encouraged to apply. Well, there's a reason they're saying that.
mhm.
And there's a reason they're looking for the vets. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's a great example. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't. If I ever get big enough, and if I don't, that's okay too. But if cane fishing ever gets big enough, I guarantee you, I'll be looking for vets. Guaranteed, 100%. You can hold me to that.
yeah.
Yeah, because I know what they can bring to the table,
Hmm.
and.
Yeah, one of the things I mean, and these are little things that even passively we're not really thinking about, and they have the biggest impact. It's like the small. I don't know. I can't really make a metaphor for this, but the smallest contribution can always lead to the biggest change. You never know.
Yes. Yeah,
So
you're right. No, you're right. Yeah,
yeah, and like you,
I hope what I'm doing, um, you know, if we can reduce that number by, I'm just so here's my thinking. I could sit here and complain about 22 all day long. 23, 24, whatever it is. But those are just words. Actions are going to speak much louder than words. So I
Mm-hmm.
can't sit here and complain or, think about it unless I'm willing to do something about it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the biggest reasons that I started this fishing gear company, because I want to be able to give back. I am a wounded vet. I want to give to other wounded vets that need it more than I do. And there's a lot of wounded vets out there, God bless them, that need it more than me. But I want them to know that I'm here doing something in Tennessee to try to help them.
Yeah.
You know, so that's cane. That's cane fishing. That's what it's about.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I knew you were a perfect guest for what this podcast is about, which is it's equal parts outdoors, equal parts mental health. Because I didn't want to just be another run of the mill like, oh, well, I'm talking about mental health and give quotes and stuff like that. Like I'll do that through my Instagram or my social media, and that's fine. But I want to see if I can add another dimension to the conversation that isn't really talked about.
Right.
Like we talk, what we mentioned earlier, it's multifaceted. Mental health is multifaceted. It affects vets just as easily as it could affect any other civilian.
Yes.
Um,
Oh yeah.
and a lot, yeah.
Firefighters, police officers, EMS. Yeah, they're dealing
Mm-hmm.
with it all the time. I'm
Mm-hmm.
fortunate enough to work in a city here in Tennessee where every year they bring in experts on that, and then we sit through 4 hours of in service dealing with just simply mental health. Every year we go through it, so it affects, military. It affects, like you said, it affects everyone. It really
Mm-hmm.
does. And I
Yeah.
applaud you. I applaud you for taking action and doing something like this to try to help. I really do. And I'm honored to be on this podcast.
And I'm honored to have you on, man. Like I said, you're a perfect guest for this for the podcast. And I mean, because I follow I don't remember at what point I started following you, because I think it was like when my account was probably like at 2,000 followers. Right now it's like 4,000. But it's like you have your business and you contribute. Again, you're trying to contribute to the the
Yeah.
situation that vets are, especially wounded vets, are facing.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and
I don't
that's kind
know.
of where I'm sorry.
I don't know if right now is a good time to talk about that. What actually we do and where part of every sale mine goes.
Oh, go
Um,
for it. Go for it.
so so I started this cane fishing. Cane. Let me just grab a hat here. I don't know, for those that are watching. Let's see if you can see it there. Let me see.
Hmm.
So it stands for keep changing, no excuses. That A is the Greek symbol for change. So
Oh,
keep changing, no excuses. And then cane after the original cane fishing pole. So part of every one of my sales goes to an organization in North Georgia called Operation Tackle Box. And Jake runs Operation Tackle Box down there and does an outstanding job. So what I do is I send him part of every one of my sales. What I do is, like, once a month or once every 2 months, I'll send him, like, I'll Venmo him or do it off his website. I'll send him part of every one of my sales will go to him. So what he does is he brings wounded veterans in, and we provide all the wounded vets with fishing gear, rods, tackle boxes, whatever they need. And then what he does is he'll take them out fishing. And during that excursion, 4 hours, 5, 6 hour excursion, they talk about options in dealing with PTSD and the transition from military life to civilian life. So I actually got hooked up with Operation Tackle Box because I went to Lake Chickamauga here in Tennessee for one of the Bassmasters weigh-in. And I was talking to one of the pro fishermen, and I was just telling him about cane fishing, and he said, "Oh, you need to look up Operation Tackle Box." So I actually got connected with him through a pro fisherman. Is it okay to say his name, I guess?
yeah. If you want to, yeah, go for it.
Brock Mosley is one who put me in touch. So I called Operation Tackle Box, talked to Jake. Like I said, outstanding individual. He's also a vet. So we kind of paired up, and that's the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. Is when I retire, God willing, I retire from the fire service. I want to do this full time. Right now, I'm able to give some back, but obviously, the more sales I can make, the more I can give. And so, hopefully, when this goes full time, I'll be able to just, flood him with funds to help wounded vets. He started operations called Operation One Shot, where we'll take you hunting.
Mm.
And then he started trail walking, also like a hiking. So and that's an avenue for some people that want to help. Get on operationtacklebox.com and you can donate through there, or call Jake and ask him if he needs anything. I want to give a huge shout out to, I know as a fisherman now, Z-Man products, Z-Man and
Of
Exxon
course.
Lures. Yeah.
Hmm.
Both of those companies sent me a bunch of tackle. And for those fishermen out there that are listening, great organization, great individuals working for them, very courteous, very giving. They're amazing. They never hesitated. They sent me probably, between the two of them, I would guess $800 to $1,000 worth of tackle that I just sent straight off to Operation Tackle Box, and he was able to give those, a lot of swim bait stuff like soft plastics. He was able to give those out to all the wounded vets that were coming in. So that's the story behind Kane. Keep changing, no excuses. I can't sit here and complain about it unless, I'm willing to do something about it. And so that's the reason I started this. And hopefully, like I said, if God willing, I retire, I'll be able to give more to them. And
No, I think
that's what we're
that's
about.
I think you picked the perfect time to say that, because we're actually, we're about like 9 minutes away from the
Oh,
hour mark, and
okay. Well, thank
yeah,
you. Thank you for allowing me to plug Kane and plug Operation Tackle Box. So
yeah,
yeah, if you want to help out, you can get on also canefishing.com. You can get here's some of my shirts behind me there. I don't know if you can see them, but a couple of shirts and a couple of different hats. Get on there, you purchase a shirt or purchase a hat. We have hooded sweatshirts. Again, I'm just started, like I said, back in September. So I don't have a huge selection, but I have a good selection right now. And knowing that you're going to get a good quality shirt, and part of that sale will go to Operation Tackle Box.
that's awesome. Yeah, and for those that don't necessarily fish, so Z-Man and Exxon are two top companies, so they're not giving cheap
Oh, no.
quality lures. They donated really good stuff, because they all
Yeah,
have
absolutely. Yeah. A lot of
yeah,
the bass, the pro bass fishermen will use I think Brandon Palaniuk, I think his name is, but he's, sponsored by Exxon. So yeah, like you were saying, they are big companies. They're very well-known companies within the fishing industry. And again, cannot thank those guys enough, man. They're awesome. They really are.
yeah. And that's the Kane. That's a very clever name, honestly. And I don't know why I didn't see the Delta earlier until you just pointed it out. Like, because for those that don't know, the Delta is a Greek letter for, and that stands for symbol of change.
Yeah, there it is right there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Here
yeah, awesome. And the truck. I mean, the hats they have. Yeah,
Here.
those hats. Like, for those that can't see, that they're listening to us on Spotify or an Apple or what,
This is our newest one right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's a Richardson 112 hat, so it's a great hat.
Mm.
Yeah, but you know what? Outside the hat, though, you're helping vets. Don't worry about the hat. Just know you're helping somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is very important, and because right now, the economic times are tough and probably tougher than we have seen in a while. So it's really important that you choose wisely where you put your money in.
Yes.
I think for those that are listening, if you are looking for a trucker hat, I know, because trucker hats are really popular. I wear them a lot, and I definitely am going to buy a couple off of Kane. But check them out, because I think that's a very good. There's a very good story, and there's a very good mission statement or MO behind why Pick is getting into that business. So
Well, thank you for that. And also, just to let everybody know, these hats, as you probably know, very hard to come by right now. They're very hard to find.
absolutely.
They really are hard to find. I'm fortunate enough to have a vendor who, I'm able to get them from. But yeah, and just to let everybody know, I do not have a big markup. I'm not in this for me. I'm in this for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing with the podcast. I hope that so I have long-term goals, I have short-term goals. The short-term goal is that I'm able to do this full time. And I'm also going to release merch specifically for this. The long-term goal is to get involved in either starting my own or getting involved in another organization, contributing either my time,
Yes.
some resources or what have you. Like Operation Tackle Box, like donating stuff to them would be a good one to start. But that's the long goal, to be able
Yeah.
to like do this full time, and then that will be able to yield me to offer my time, resources to other things, and that's what I'm hoping to get out of this. So
Well,
um,
I hope you reach them. I really do. I hope you reach all your goals. That's good for the listeners, to ask them what are their goals.
yeah.
A lot of people um, fail to, I'll give you an example. One of the newer firefighters that come in to my station, and I'll sit them down and I'll ask them to put out a 3-month goal, a 6-month goal, a 1-year goal, 3-year goal, and a 5-year goal. You know, and then it's very easy to write goals down. But now I want you to write, how do you think you're going to reach those goals?
Mm. It's like solving a math problem.
That's the question. How are you going to reach your goals? So to your listeners out there, write your goals down, and then write how you're going to accomplish to reach them. You know what I'm saying? Anybody could just write them down, but you got to have a plan. You got to have a roadmap, right? And
Yeah.
that's in life in general. You got to have a roadmap. So got to know where you're going, and you got to know how you're going to get there.
And normally I kind of like do like a hard segue into this final thought, but again, it's just coming out pretty organically. So I'll just piggyback off what you're just saying right now, like in terms of you got to have a goal, and you got to shoot for it, and it's okay to fail. Like don't be scared of failure.
Yes.
There's a lot of quotes that said like they'll say something along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing, where it's like, why is the master so good than the beginner? Well, the master has failed more times than the beginner has tried. Something along those lines.
Amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's good. And you know what? That's really good for the parents out there. I know we talked a lot about social media and how it increases depression, how its suicide rate is going up amongst younger, children. Um, and that's very, very good point as far as talking about your failures. That it's very important for you to talk to your kids about their dreams and all that, but it's also just as important to talk about your failures. It's okay as a parent to explain your failures, because explaining your failures gives the children hope.
Mhm.
Think about that.
Yeah,
You explain your failures, it gives them hope. It's okay to make a mistake. We just want to learn from it and try not to duplicate it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and I don't want anybody to feel like they're, we're taking shots at them. It's just no, it's
No,
just that it's
no, this is
how
just
we see
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, just a blanket. This is for everybody, myself included. Myself included. I've explained my failures to my kids. No, nobody's perfect. It's okay. But by explaining your failures and how you overcame them, that gives kids hope. But it's
Yeah,
just as important to talk about your failures as it is your success.
yeah, and yeah, and for those that are on social media, on the internet, just the only piece of advice I would probably say is like, you have to really see what resources, what accounts, what profiles are really genuine, and which ones are just kind of doing it for the clout,
Right.
and draw inspiration from those that are just, they're grinding it out, and they're, you can tell it's very obvious. Like you can tell, you just kind of have to, have a little patience and everything, and really understand, you know, what a profile is like. And I mean, I've bashed celebrities before, but sometimes like people will post stuff that they're helping, but they're doing it because they want to be recognized.
They're doing it
That's
for
not
the
what we're
wrong
talking
reason.
about.
Yeah, they're doing it for
What
the
happened?
wrong. You're saying they're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Right, right. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about like, I mean, there's times where you should film a certain act because you want to see what's going on, but it's really about how you present it. Some people present it as a way, can kind of like, oh, well, look at me, I do this, and it's like that's the wrong reason. Like you don't want to. necessarily help somebody just to make yourself feel better. You want to help somebody to make them feel better. There's,
Yes.
there's a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. If you're doing it for yourself, then don't do it. Period.
Yeah.
If you're
Hmm.
doing it for yourself, don't do it. That's just the wrong reasons. It really is. You're doing it because you're a good human being, and you're doing it because it's the right thing to do.
Yep. And we all have that the capability of being a good human being. So keep that in mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we hit the 1 hour mark, and that blew by pretty fast. So
That was
once
pretty
again,
quick.
let everybody know where they can find you again, and where they can find your website. And yeah,
Yeah. So you could, on Instagram, it's at Cane Fishing, and my website is canefishing.com. That's where you can find
perfect.
me. Yeah.
Nice and simple. All
That's
right.
it.
So I appreciate everybody for those that have stuck around. Make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, you like, comment if you like the video, subscribe, share. That helps the conversation to keep going, to keep rolling out, and hopefully we can reach more people. And yeah. So share the Spotify link, the Apple Podcast link. Help your support will help us keep this going. So
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Before we
All right.
close, I just want to say thank you again, for having me on here. And again, I'm honored that you asked me, and I think it's a great thing what you're doing, and I hope you continue it, and I hope you reach your goals. I
I
really do.
appreciate it.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate it. Thank you for spending time with me. You have a busy schedule and everything, so thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Been my honor. It truly has been.
Awesome. All right, everybody. So we'll see you for the next episode, and thanks for watching and listening.